Welcome everybody to the PodAskew Podcast. I am CJ, and these are stories from the video room.
So yeah, it's weird. It's my, in a couple months, it'll be the anniversary of Video Room. My career.
5 years, man.
Which also brings up, it will probably be, recently, within the past couple weeks ago, like maybe a month or two ago, was the third anniversary of the robbery that happened there.
Oh.
And I haven't told the story. I've alluded to it a couple times. So Art and I and a customer. So Art, if you guys remember, Art was my previous manager who passed away almost, I think, last year. Like almost to the, like within a couple more weeks, it'll be his death anniversary. Wow. Holy shit. So he and I are working, and we have a customer who is inside. And the customer and I and Art were just talking and hanging out and bullshit. We're talking about Harry Potter. We're talking about Star Wars. We're just talking movies. And the customer, who I've since more or less become friends with because of this interaction, kept trying to like inch out, and then was like, oh, we're talking about this now? And then he could come back in and start talking. He's like, hey, I gotta go. Oh shit, we're talking about Marvel? Fuck, let's talk about Marvel for two minutes. Art.
Can I jump in for just a split second?
Sure.
The Art bonus episode came out on July 25th. So we're, about a month away from... Yeah.
I think he died. I think he died around 4th of July weekend is really what I think it was.
I don't recall. We recorded that like a week or two after the fact, so yeah.
Right. So I think because we had a huge heat wave in around July, late June, early July. So Art went over to the open sign and turned it off, the neon sign. So he turned off the sign, but didn't lock the door because the customer was still inside. We're all talking and hanging out. And the door opens, and the door was old, and it still is, the same door, had a squeak. So we heard the squeak, and we look over, and there were two black guys that ran in with colored bandanas over their mouths.
Okay.
And the first thing I remember looking at it was, that looks like my dad's gun.
That's not the first thought you want to have.
No, I was like, that looks like my dad. Holy shit! And it was a 38 stub nose. One of those old school 70s cop guns. And it's surreal. It is surreal to be in that situation because I still have people coming in every other day not knowing about the video room. They're like, oh my God, there's still a video place here? Meanwhile, we're getting fucking robbed by fucking people.
Right.
So I was behind the counter. So Art, heavyset, dude, and the customer, skinny dude. And I talked to him, many times about this. The customer is or still is, or in the middle of training, as a EMT nurse. Okay. So as the situation's going on, I'm hyperventilating because I have a gun at the back of my head.
Oh, wow.
And I had to be the one to crawl on all fours, open the register, open the safe, give them the money. And I remember repeating, I'm sorry, just apologizing repeatedly. Like I felt like I wasn't going fast enough and I was just apologizing. And I was like, stammering. And so as I'm hyperventilating and trying not to, piss myself, the customer is going into work mode. He's thinking to himself, okay, Rika's hyperventilating. He may have a heart attack. I know what to do if he has a heart attack. I have to do mouth to mouth and pressure points and yada, 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 yada. He's doing all that. Okay, if Rika gets shot or if Art gets shot, there's blood. You got to put pressure on. He's just like, what could possibly happen? How do I prevent it from getting worse? So all this is going on. I give them the money, blah, blah, blah. And they got off with way more than they should have because unfortunately it was a Tuesday. It was a Tuesday 2 minutes from closing. And the owner, unfortunately, hadn't picked up the profits from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and that night. So they got well over what they should have. Like, and you know what? It's fucked up, but like, I kind of, in the back of my head, I knew nothing bad was going to happen to me because these guys were adults. These guys, I mean, as I'm hyperventilating and apologizing, they're actually, they said, it's all good, man. You're fine. Just take your time. Do it quick. You're good. Like, they were actually kind of reassured. The robbers, yeah.
Okay.
Because they were older, seasoned guys that were just like, we are here to pay our rent. I guarantee, I promise you, CJ, if they were 20 years old, they would have killed us.
Right.
They would have had more to prove. They would have been out for blood. They would have had to show off. They would have been something. They also may have been nervous themselves and had to prove something. And you know, my hand's shaking. Fuck this. So in all things considered, it was very lucky. And you know what? There is a part of me that was thinking, maybe if I just grabbed the gun, maybe if I'd done this, maybe if I'd finagled my way, grab the gun, do an action movie move. And you know, look, I know how to fight. I've been in fights. I know how to handle a gun. I've shot guns before at my farm.
I've actually never fired a weapon, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah.
For someone who lives in Philly, that's surprising.
Well, I don't live in downtown Philly.
Oh, that's fair.
I live in the burbs. Anyway.
If you ever came out here, I would take you to land and I would teach you how to shoot.
Yeah, the family in Vegas has offered to let me do that too, because you can go to the shooting range rules are not as restrictive in Vegas. Like, you can go without any previous experience and like rent an AK-47 and just shoot.
Yeah, that sounds fun. I mean, I would start you off with like a .38 revolver.
No, I'm just saying, like, you can go get some ridiculously high-powered weapon without any
but if you're going to go to Vegas to pay to fucking shoot, you might as well just come over another 7 or 8 hours away come over here. No.
I'm not saying I prefer that. I'm just telling you, like, that's why they were offering. So
fair enough. Well, I don't have AK-47s. You know, we have basic ammunition type of guns.
I have shot an air rifle. I have done that for what it's worth.
This is not an air rifle. An air rifle, if you got shot in the face, would fuck up your day. But you got shot with a .38, that would fuck up your life.
Yeah, so I can imagine. Yeah.
So we're silent. Like they get all the money, and we're all kind of like not saying anything for about 15 seconds because we're looking at the floor. We don't know, and I'm behind the counter. We don't know what's going on. And like I said, I felt like what I did was the best thing I could have done.
Oh yeah, they always say the best thing you can do is cooperate.
Let them take the money. Let them fucking do what they're doing.
Believe it or not, like, okay, so we haven't talked about my job very much, and I'm not going to get into a whole lot of details because I don't want to, but I work compliance for a bank, and that's the most I'll say in terms of details. But within that, I have access to the procedures for us if someone comes in to rob one of the store. We call them stores or branches. Someone comes in to
locations.
Yeah, someone comes to one of the locations and tries to rob it. And the number one rule is do what they want.
Yeah.
Don't be a
hero.
Don't be a hero. I mean, they do tell you if you have the opportunity to hit the alarm, like we have alarm things that they can hit. If you can discreetly do it, do it. If you can get the dye bags in. Those things that you traditionally see in movies are real. They want you to do those things, but they want you to do it not at the expense of your life. So
your life or someone else's. Yeah.
Right. If you can't do it and you can get them out of the place, then do that first rather than try to get the dye bag in or hit the button or whatever. But yeah.
Right.
So anyway, go ahead.
Well, I mean, that's basically it. So then they
you heard the door squeak again, I'm assuming, and that's how you knew they left?
We kind of didn't hear anything for 15 seconds.
Right.
And then I sort of said, Art, And Art's like, yeah, do the alarm. And the silent alarm was behind the counter, but I had been standing like 2 feet away from it.
Right.
So I pressed the button, and then within 10 seconds, we get a phone call from the cops and saying, what's going on? And like, yeah, we just got fucking robbed. Like, get your ass out here.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, I make jokes about like, you know, police in Oakland and everything. Like, oh, I called the cops. They came 3 days later. Like that kind of thing.
Yeah,
These motherfuckers showed up within 2 minutes.
Wow.
And I mean, like,
sirens,
all of them.
Yeah. Sirens wailing, lights flashing, I'm sure. Screeching.
I had more people in the video room than ever before.
Or ever since.
No. Because then people heard about the robbery, like, oh my God, I heard about this. I didn't know there was a video store. See, motherfucker, like, come on.
No such thing
as
bad.
It took a robbery for us to fucking get a little famous.
No such thing as bad publicity.
Well, the unfortunate thing is they did get off with like, oh God, over $1,000.
Wow. And
I mean and the fucked up thing is that I had to work the next day. Like, I like my current boss said, so I'm going to see you, right? You're scheduled. And I'm like, you know, dude, can I get a day off? I just had a fucking gun in the back of my head.
Yeah, right.
And that was uncomfortable. I at that point I was like, you know, should I quit, or could the exact same situation happen to me at a restaurant or at a fucking PetSmart or something?
Anytime
because who
you're
the fuck would rob a video store? You know what I mean?
Someone who needs money. I mean, anytime you're working in a job where you're dealing with the public on a day-to-day basis, you run the risk of something like that happen. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the reality of it. Movie theater, retail store, restaurant, bank, you know, it doesn't matter. Like, you run the risk of that happening, unfortunately, you know? So
yeah, it's true. It's really true. It's
that's why we should do this for a living, because then we don't have to.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, fuck, dude. Like,
somebody pay us to podcast. Fuck.
I don't want to be robbed again.
By the way, we kind of did get paid to get podcast. That was exciting. But anyway, go ahead.
No, man, that's basically it. It's just I look at 5 years, and I've been through a lot of shit in the video room. I've, you know, gone through bad breakups. I've, you know, went through a very depressing form of depression, I guess, like to the point where I had like I did kind of like have a mild suicide attempt, and then still went to work the next day.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew
like
that.
I went through a bad relationship, and I mean, I apologize to listeners for how depressing this is getting, but like, you know.
Well, I'm not making light of your depression or you going through a period that got that bad for you, but, you know, I don't know. Doesn't make great comedy.
Well, we you know, I'd like to imagine that our listeners like, you know, funny shit, but they can also want to hear some serious shit too.
No, I don't disagree. So please tell your story.
No, it's real. Okay, fuck it. I was in an abusive relationship with a woman. I won't name any names. I will say that it was a recent enough relationship that, like, I'm so goddamn happy I have Stephanie in my life.
Is this, and again, without naming names, is this the one you were telling me you were living with the other day when you were telling me the other story you were telling me about off air?
No.
Okay.
No. That what I was telling you was years ago, okay. 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Okay, fair enough. Sorry. Go ahead.
This was 2 years ago.
Right. I got you.
I was dating a woman, and I was going back and forth. It was a long distance relationship, and I was going back and forth to LA before Stephanie. And I was going to LA and right. And for a lot of it, it was very not physically. She never hit me, but it was psychologically and verbally abusive to the point where she would bring me up. Like, she would lift up my spirits and then crush me. And I held her in such high regard that I was like, I put her on a fucking major pedestal. Not to mention the fact that she was also significantly taller than me, which is not really a fucking difficult feat.
Right.
But like, she was 6'1".
Yeah, that's substantially taller than you.
Yeah. So it was I was already intimidated by the whole thing. But, I was able to make her laugh a lot, and, it seemed like we were kind of falling for each other in a heavy, 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 serious way. And I was traveling there all the time, and I there are a lot of details that I will not go into. But ultimately, the point was that I had to. It was a nightly, daily thing where I was like, on the phone with her or on through text or whatever. I would, she would just shit in my soul, and I didn't know how to get out of it.
Shit in your soul.
Yeah.
I think I need to use that at some point.
Oh, dude. I don't even know if I have a soul. If I had one, she'd fucking shat in it. And
okay.
There was one particular bad night where it was she told me, I mean, I will never go into specifics about it. I'll tell you, but there is just I'm a very open guy, but this is almost, the details are just too personal.
That's
so, fair. But basically she made me feel like a nuisance. She made me feel like no matter what I did, I will always be a problem for someone else. Like, why can't I get my shit together? Why can't I grow up? Oh boy, Rico can't do this. What a shocker. It just made me feel like I was wasting my life by not being a grown up or successful. And I was dating her in parts because I could grow up. Because I definitely held her in high pedestal. She had her own apartment in LA, in Santa Clarita. She works for a major corporation, like as an animator.
I think you told me about that. Yeah, that part I think you've shared with me before.
Like, she was in the film industry,
right? And
I knew that, and she was latching onto me that was something that I didn't know was true or not. She was holding me to the relationship with a little piece of information that I'm like, okay, I feel compelled to be with her. You guys listening could sort of figure out that what is something that she could say that I'd have to stick it out with her. And then when that turned out to not happen, I got to be able to get out of the situation. I was kind of like, she's not blank. Now I'm free.
Right.
But for a long time, there was a possibility that she was blank, and I just didn't know what to do. And there was one bad fucking night where I just felt like I didn't want to be a problem to anybody ever again. So, I mean, I made a very feeble, shitty attempt and sort of licked my wounds and kind of had a new realization. I honestly, what kept me going, despite the depression and the anxiety, and I was losing sleep, and I was traveling to LA all the time through bus and going back and making time for work. I was down to 1 or 2 days a week. I was slowly lessening my hours at work so I could try and look for work in LA, so I could move to LA. I was trying to change my whole fucking life. I was trying to be an adult and do many other adult things all at once.
Right.
And in the span of like 4 or 5 months, which is really difficult to fucking do. Sure. Not to move, grow up, get a whole other fucking career, potentially marry someone and start a family. Like, it was a lot to take on. And what kept me actually alive was thinking about my family, thinking about my nephews. And I never ever want to be a cautionary tale for my nephews. I never want my brothers to tell my nephews, don't ever be like Uncle Rico. I want them to tell them, be like Uncle Rico. Rico's happy. Rico's funny. I want them, to say, you can always come and talk to us. Don't do what Rico did. So And that's why I know I'll never do it, because I don't ever want to be that cautionary lesson. So, I mean, I guess the ending to this is that I went to work the next day unsure of what I was even doing. And I had a lot of customers that were like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, I don't know. And I didn't know. And I had a lot of customers that actually did more than the average fucking retail customer. You know,
right.
they were so genuinely nice. And yeah, this is a depressing fucking ending, but I think the whole point of it is you can have laughter. You can find humor in anything, and you can still have depression. You can have, I mean, I was still laughing at everything. I was always making her laugh. I was making customers laugh. But, and you know, deep down, I was miserable. I was at my absolute last strand of rope.
Wow.
It was about to snap. I made an attempt. And then even when it didn't work out, I actually felt even worse because, man, I can't even kill myself now.
These have been stories from the video room. Tune in next time for another intriguing and exciting adventure.